Arnold says, wouldn't Aaron start jumping up and down dancing over a $250 dono? Yes, and I did. I love triggering the shit out of people like Arnold who thinks they're all fake. Mersh does too. Mersh always says, Aaron's fake donoing himself into bankruptcy. The fact that I have them thinking that, you have no idea how much that means to me. You have no idea how much joy that brings my heelish heart. It's a Grinch smile that creeps across my face. Follow _Mersh on YouTube. You know what was interesting about Compound Media is that Pat wanted to kill Gino. Kevin wanted to kill Gino. Those two got fired, but the common denominators seemed to be people wanting to kill Gino. When Gavin got a chance to kill Gino professionally, he murdered Gino professionally. And so, like, the common denominator seemed to be people wanting to punch Gino. I seem to be the only guy who didn't want to punch Gino in the face. I mean, what's the deal? I'm the only one he shoved a knife in the back of. And I'm the only guy who didn't want to kill him. The things you do for people. Roots Calhoun says, ain't a mud shark a white broad that only bangs black dudes? Yeah, and people pointed that out to Chad at one point, so he just decided to lean into it. And now the whole bit is that he calls himself the mud shark. A bunch of other people get really upset that he calls himself that, and he doesn't give a shit, so you're just left there to seethe on your own. I kind of like it. He started calling himself the mud shark because he plays in the mud. Like, he went after April really hard when we were feuding. He kind of, like Patrick Melton in a lot of ways, kind of ripped off Chad and stole from Chad in our beef, in our feud, in that Melton knew he could never get to me. He never got to me. So he tried to go to people around me to get at me that way. And when that didn't work, he just had a full-on meltdown. Chad's a little tougher and a little stronger than Dance Theater Patrick. And Chad just kept hammering away. So April made me put a stop to the Chad Zumach stuff. And that bummed me out because I liked it. It was good for the show. It made us look like pussies and it hurt our momentum big time. But she couldn't handle that stuff. And that's where, Triple N will be happy to hear this because he likes to hear where I think I went wrong. I should have never brought her on the air. I think I really damaged her by bringing her on the air. I think she wanted to be on the show, so I kind of just took her word for it. But I think she liked the idea of being on the show with me more than the consequences of such. Because I would have been fine feuding with all these guys. But April was definitely my Achilles heel in that I didn't want anyone hurting her. So I'd bring her on the show. Problem is, you can't avoid people trying to hurt someone that's on the air with you. They're a public figure. They're fair game. So when they start shitting on that person, you feel bad because they're taking it seriously and they feel bad. My advice to her at the time was, you got to not take this seriously. You got to let it go. Don't read it. Block. Don't react. Just, we're having fun. Let it go. And that's a very rare quality for people to have. Ironically, I have it. Chad has it. But Patrick's been doing it for 20 years. He doesn't have that ability. He's very soft and thin-skinned. And I brought her into that world. And that's my fault. That's my mistake. I should have never done that because she wasn't ready for the actual thing. By the way, someone pointing out Chad's show has been taken down from yesterday. Somebody was pulling gay ops on the Chad Zumach clip because the Clippers who put it up had theirs taken down. Chad Zumach had his taken down. I took mine down voluntarily because I don't want to strike. And if people are pulling gay ops, and you know who it was, then that's going to be, they're going to be judged for that, like as far as the internet goes. So that's no skin off anyone's back. West Coast Patriot Girl says, Gino's on Mersh's show now saying the Dabbleverse is obsessed with him. 38 viewers. Oh, no. Gino's saying the Dabbleverse is obsessed with him? I'll be very honest. And I don't dislike Gino. But he better thank his lucky stars that Chad covers him or any of these Dabbleverse people cover him, because he's been gone from YouTube for 2 weeks now, and he's going to come back and he won't crack 100 live viewers. Keanu can't crack 50 live viewers. After he was done with the charity gig that was Compound, how do I put it? I think the sooner those two both realize that their entertainment careers are over, the happier they're going to be and the better lives they're going to be able to pursue. Because thankfully, they don't have expensive lifestyles and they don't have children. I think if they move to the cheapest part of town and they get Joe jobs, I think they'll be a lot better off and I think they'll be a lot more productive. And they'll make a lot more money. The entertainment thing it's over. It's done for them. It was done when Compound closed down. I mean, Keanu's never really had an entertainment career. Gino did, and now it's done. So that's, people are saying like, oh, there's a debut, there's a premiere on YouTube. Now that's not Mersh's channel. Mersh doesn't have a YouTube channel. He can't have one. That's a Mersh A-log channel. They don't like Mersh. They make fun of him. But 38 people watching Gino talk about the Dabbleverse. I mean, yeah, it's pretty par for the course. And yeah, Mersh has this weird thing with me now too, and you can just tell. I can tell when people send me clips of Mersh talking about me, I'm like, this is coming from a pain in Mersh. Like, this is Mersh unhappy with something in himself, and he's trying to force it to be thrown at me. And it's just, and it's sad to watch him because I've been watching ROTC since I think like around when Trump started running for president. And you can actually watch in 9 years what's like, you watch someone physically destroying themselves. And then you just see the chain smoking and the drugs and the booze. And it's just like, it's a Dare commercial for how that shit really does rot your brain. Yeah, Mersh also has this idea that there's going to be the great Kevin Sullivan Dungeon of Doom alliance to end Hulkamania with Steel Toe. It's like, no offense, buddy, but you and your guys have been trying that for 6 months now. There's nothing to kill. This is just, it is what it is. Keanu will go back to only simps. There's no money on there, There's no money on it in it at all. Honky says, to be honest, Keanu had a podcast called The Week in Sex where she boasted about her countless threesomes and Eskimo sistering with her mom. Yeah, but as you get older and you get closer to 35, 40 years old, nobody wants to listen to you talk about sex. Atomic Ray, yeah, Kiki quote, you're not allowed to clip me. Her whole thing with the clippers was the biggest, most destructive thing she ever did to herself. If she ever wonders why 30 people are watching her at a time, that's a big reason why. Those clippers drive people to your channel. Those clippers cause people to find you. And just because you're saying stupid shit and that's what people are clipping, I mean, maybe that is kind of an indication of your talent level. You say stupid shit. That's what they clip. Not everything they clip of me is me saying stupid shit. Some of it absolutely is. But she got mad about clipping, and Chrissy got her all gassed up and was like, you can file a, Frank Pellegrino used to tell me to do takedowns on people all the time. And I'm like, I'm sorry, Frank. I'm not judging what you're doing, but I don't roll that way. I don't do that shit. If people want to, he wanted me to strike Melton. And I'm like, I'm not going to strike Patrick Melton. He's allowed to do his thing. And I also told him, like I said, a year ago, I was like, this guy will self-destruct. Bingo was his name. He wanted me to strike. They wanted me to strike Chad early on. Strike Chad's channel. No. You don't strike people because they're clipping you. They should be allowed to clip you. I want to live in a world where people can have a little fun clipping. It's just in YouTube. All right? It's just YouTube. It's not a big deal. And you're allowed to clip people. And the minute you start going after these clippers, man, if I were those clippers, I'd only clip embarrassing shit of people who try to pull that nonsense. Honky says, I like Keanu's gloating about her Ponzi scheme podcast company deal with zero audience. Yeah, you don't get paid to do a podcast to 30 people. That's definitely just some kind of, I've had those people come to me, and it's not a podcast deal. It's like, hey, we're a grouping of podcasts and we just promote each other's work. Do you want to join in with us? And you go, no, that's okay. But if you have, I'll say this, if you have 30 people watching you at a time, it can't hurt. it definitely can't hurt. So I understand why she would need it. It's just people who have an audience don't need it. You know, it's something you do to try to build an audience.